Hello, I'm Ruby Swiftfoot. I left home when I was very young because I wanted to be an adventurer. You know, the kind that slays dragons and can match wits with elves of the Feywild. The kind that people talk about for generations to come. Unfortunately, fate had other plans for me. I was captured by a group of raiders who branded me and threatened that if I ever tried to leave, I would be returned or executed depending on who found me. I worked for them for over a decade, wondering when my life would turn around. I always thought I would be the hero of the story, not the one who needed saving. I thought that maybe my moment had come when I fell in love with Isabella, the young daughter of a wealthy merchant. We could run away together, start a new life, and even live happily ever after. Through a tragic series of events, however, she was killed. The worst part? It was all my fault. No retribution could be as painful as heartache, so I left the raiders and attempted to carve the brand from my shoulder. A cleric of Sarenrae named Amy Taldor was summoned to my side when I passed out from the pain. She was able to heal my physical wounds, but my emotional suffering required deeper care. She taught me of the Everlight's compassion, the virtue of redemption, and I heard the call. Amy thankfully allowed me to follow her and act as her student as she cared for those returning from battle. It was from her that I learned that not every hero has to do big things to make a difference. While I still want to be a hero, I no longer believe you have to slay a dragon to do so.
My name is Signy, and this isn't my first war. When tensions between the Primordials and Divine first began, Loth, the treacherous one, devised a plan. She wanted us, the primal elves, to give up our individual freedom in order to attain what she called divine superiority. Through her argument, she persuaded all of us to take a single form and turn away from the example of Coralon's untamable, ever-shifting ways. As we did, we came to see Coralon and Loth in new lights. We began to view Coralon as our father, the one who had sired us, and Loth as our mother, the one who set us on the path to destiny. Each of us, as children will do, favored one parent or the other. My husband and I saw how Coralon was revolted by this betrayal and rallied against Loth's corruption. That was when the Great Reckoning happened. This was meant to be a meeting of minds, where we could all peacefully plead our cases and come to an agreement about how to proceed. But in a moment where Coralon became lost in thought, distracted, Loth attempted to strike him down. She did not succeed, but instead cut down my husband as he sacrificed himself to save our maker. This act changed us all forever. Coralon cast out the primal elves from Arendor and exiled us into a physical existence on the material plane, the Feywild, and even Shadowfell. From then on, all elves would be mortal, fixed in the forms we had adopted in defiance of Coralon's will. I went to the Feywild where my son Ero was born. I helped my people navigate the harsh world of the land of the Fey, and soon found myself renowned for my skill with the blade. I thought I had found peace in this new world, but there was another war calling for me. Now, my focus has turned to an even larger conflict. I fight for Coralon, wielding my husband's moonblade against the primordials who intend to annihilate all of humanity. This war was not something that I wanted to fight in, but I will do everything in my power to create a better world for my son and the generations that will come after, even if it means that I must return to Arendor and my husband to do it.
My name is Madry Wolfhart. Unlike most people who had dreams, some of mine become a reality. From a young age, I've been plagued by nightly visions of terrible, amazing, wonderful things. But upon waking, I find that flashes I get frequently slip from my fingers like the grains of sand. What I do remember is often difficult to interpret and even harder to understand, let alone act on or change. But it hasn't all been a mystery. These premonitions led me to finding my wife, discovering my purpose, and set me on my current path of fighting the Primordials in the Dawn War. Before all of that, I was the son of two travelling merchants, Ralphie and Bevretta Wolfhart. Life on the open road was no place to raise a child, especially after the war began. After one too many close calls, they decided to leave me in the care of my aunt and uncle in the city, when I was 8 years old. I spent my formative years in that city blowing off steam, learning to train with weapons, and running away from any formal education my aunt and uncle tried to give me. Eventually, I did complete my schooling. When I had the right motivation, I met my wife in a library, and after a proper scolding from her, I figured it was time to get my act together. I was able to find work for the Brigade, a mercenary group that not only valued my skill with a bow, but also my gift in foresight. They allowed me to help further their cause without putting myself in too much danger. After all, I have a family to think of. Keeping my wife and 3 daughters safe is an honor and responsibility that I take very seriously. Everything I do to make the world a better, safer place for them.
A thousand thoughts flicker through the mind of an average person each day. Most they squelch into meaningless ash, suppressing wondrous ideas and plans because they don't believe they can or should accomplish them. I am Aravad, and I seek to reignite those abandoned dreams in all I meet. My greatest desire is to bring out the gifts of each individual and inspire those whose actions might alter the choices of fate herself. My story on its own is inconsequential, a single voice meant to harmonize and deepen the stories around me. If you must know, my parents led simple lives as the makers of instruments. They've passed on now, and I've not really laid down roots since. I've made a few friends, but very few actual holds. Some time ago, a grandmother of mine had a tryst with some celestial, and now once every few generations, one of us bears some of that power. Some said this was my birthright. I developed it for a time, but the ability to create, design, and enhance the story around me was far more enticing. And so my new abilities as an inspirer grew. I've been around, seen some of the outer planes, met some strange and fascinating beings, and found my way into the service of an odd celestial. Lately I've been wandering, searching for the threads that barely present, something that might lead to the greater weave. I found the beginning of a tale quite strange, and my every instinct tells me that it will be unlike any that have come before. So I'm off to find those whose stories could tame such a happening, and with any luck, my machinations will aid them in their legend.
Welcome to the last session of the First Dawn. How y'all doing, players?
Alright.
Good, I've got coffee.
Why
I'm
is
nervous.
No one's,
I'm like really
okay.
nervous.
And for a second, no one's web captioner was working, but we're all good now.
Yay.
What are we gonna do today?
I'm nervous.
Cry.
We're gonna.
I'm doing macrame out in Bathion, because
I changed my accent.
not a lot else for me to do out here. Practicing my,
Like, are we all gonna be Mandarin today?
Yeah.
my Assamarian accent.
Yeah.
It's not how ASMR sounded, said Marion. Just
Well,
putting that out
after
there.
all, I mean,
It's an
I would know,
accent
but
that
I'm like
died.
the first.
I
Josh,
mean-
we need you to declare that is canon.
All of us are
Next
saying
canon.
that it's not true, so it's probably true that Ismarians talk like this all the time.
It's ancient.
Yeah.
Ancient
Old-
Assamarian.
It's a dialect that was lost to the centuries.
I mean, I would
Okay.
know. I totally have the inside scoop as an Azamar.
Oh my god, does that mean
This is
Terry's
also-
Ismarian?
I'm about to say, this is also why the whole conspiracy theory that Terry is a god.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because how else
I
is he
mean-
speaking Assamar? Guys, we should probably...
Not confirmed. Okay.
we are
Just
are
so
in,
chat knows,
we are
this is all
live.
we've been
this
doing
Is not, this is not the
pre-stream.
pre-chat thing.
Tear Siren?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Hi.
Hi.
This is how we deal with the end of a campaign. Is by vehemently denying that it's happening.
Sorry to change the song. It was a little sad for me.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ended a campaign in a really long time.
Or
Yeah. So, today we are going to do the epilogue. So, is there anybody who would particularly like to go first? Otherwise, I have an order I can follow.
Go to
Wait.
your order. Oh.
yeah,
never
I mean,
mind.
I was gonna say mine's probably starts the saddest. So if we do it up front, then all the happy stuff happens. And we end on a good note.
Yeah,
Let's
happy.
do that. Let's start with you, Mandarin.
Sure, happy.
Yeah.
Let me get a good... There we go. Mandarin,
It's me.
what does the rest of your life look like?
Oh, well, I suppose we should start off where the end of the previous chapter ended, on the lone, long walk back home. And I enter the house, that modest two-story home, empty. I open the door, shut it, lock it, and for a long moment I look around at the pictures, the table that's now set for two. I walk over to the bedroom, and I sit down on the floor, tuck my knees up, put my face in them, and I cry for a while. I spent the first night sleeping on the floor, as if the Midrian I am today, getting on that bed would somehow put finality that she's gone. So I stay there for a while, and I stay home for a while. I don't leave. I get up robotically to get water, get food, and I use the ring, knowing there won't be an answer. I ramble on, and weeks pass, and I finally go into her study, and I reread the letter over and over, putting it into my memory, every word, as if memorizing it would keep her voice from being forgotten. And I start to read. I don't understand magic at all. I read anything she had about rituals, about magic. Akali was smart. I figure she knew a way to come back. And I spend a few months reading everything I can touch, trying to find any shred. And I try a few rituals. I don't know if I do them right. They don't work. And I get frustrated. I get angry that she lied to me, that I'm alone, that my hands aren't the hands I recognize that I've had since I was born. I dream no dreams. I have no magic. And I go to her grave. And I sit there for a while. And I go home. And I think one day Sarah stops by. And I finally open up the door and let her in.
She quietly starts to clean up. You notice
Oh,
now that out of all of the daughters, she's the one who took after most from Akalia. Kind of her same stoic expression. Not disappointed in any way, just calm, steady, like her mother.
Oh, I'm sorry about the mess. Well, yeah.
Don't be. It's fine. It's what I'm here for.
You've gotten taller?
Have I?
Yeah, or I've gotten a little shorter. I don't know.
Getting that old man hunch, huh?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm like only middle age, I think.
Have you seen the dog outside?
Dog?
There's been a dog sitting outside since I arrived, just sitting at the door, waiting. I thought maybe you'd adopt it.
Or even left? Except yesterday?
Oh, well. Why don't you go see?
I'll go outside.
Sure enough, you see a medium-sized dog sitting very patiently, and you look into its eyes and you recognize that look of intelligence. This is, looks roughly like a Doberman. And it just watches you quietly.
We'll let it in, I guess. Well, I don't really know how to raise a dog, or even what dogs like.
This dog enters and nudges your hand.
We'll give it a good scritch.
And then it quietly goes and lays down on the rug.
We'll just kind of stare at it for a moment, and we'll give Sora a hug.
Thanks, Dad. It'll be good for you to have some company.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about getting out.
Oh? Where would you like to go?
Well, I haven't seen your sisters in a while.
Trip to the Feywild, perhaps?
Hey, that'd be good. I've never been there, and Signy's over that way.
She is.
Any word on Asara?
Not yet.
Alright, I'll make a note to try and get in touch with her.
She'll come around.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, then to yell at me, I suppose. I don't have any magic anymore, so if I could go out and buy like some sending stones.
I've actually bought you some.
Oh, it's really kind. Thanks.
Tried to make them, but I don't quite have that skill. But I was able to procure some from the academy. You know, the academy that was starting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, school, right? That's what academy means.
Yes, Dad. The Crystalline Academy.
Oh, well, it's in good hands. Well, I'm sure there are lots of people that need teaching out there. Well, might as well get going. I don't know if the dog's coming or if it's gonna stay there.
As soon as you say I should get going, the dog stands up.
Okay. I'll take the sending stones, put them in my pocket. I don't know who each one is for, so I will just randomly send people. Feel like new
They're
sending
marked
stone,
for
who's
you.
this?
They're marked for you.
Oh, that's good. Who is on the list of sending stones?
You have one for Signy. You have one for Ruby. You have one for Sura. And you have one for Asara.
Alright. Tuck those in the good old patch. And, a time like the present, before I go, I'll stop by the grave and, grab my bow. We'll be back. I promise. And I'll get going.
This dog follows you wherever you go. It has a platinum collar. It seems to obey your every command. It's almost you've got a very high insight, don't you? You get the sense that this is not actually a dog. In fact, it reminds you a lot of Charlie.
Oh, I do miss Charlie. So I'll send Ruby.
Okay.
Hey, Ruby. It's me, Adrian. I know I haven't kept in touch. I'm going to the Feywild on an adventure. I miss your face, and I hope you're all right.
Hi, Madrian. It's Ruby. I am glad to hear you're going out on an adventure. Let me know when you get back from the Fey. Wild, I guess, is a one word.
And although Madrian's epilogue is not quite over yet, we will shift to Ruby. Ruby, what does your life look like after the war?
So, after we all part ways, albeit temporarily, I would have spent time making my way home. And at each town that I run into on my way there, I would see if they needed any help recovering from the war, rebuilding, or even just a message of hope. If the town is big enough to have some sort of way to make books, I would have made sure that one copy of my Book of Sarenrae is left behind before I would continue on. As the months go by, go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt really quick.
Uh-huh.
Before months go by, you are looking through your pack, and you find something that wasn't there before. A book. Titled The Legend of the Dawnbringers.
I probably have an inkling in my head as to where that book came from. I can't confirm it yet. Maybe someday I will, but I would have made sure. So every morning I would get up and I would still perform my ritual to Sarenrae. And every night I probably would have read that book. Even if I finished it, I would have kept going through it until the pages started to become dog-eared. And after I was satisfied with my reading every night, I would have said goodnight to Signy and Madrian and Aravad, as was my custom for many years.
What does that book contain, Goat?
Well, first of all, the book never dog ears. It never wears. It never ages. As you open it up, it says, "This is the legend of the Dawnbringers. The front line and yet unknown heroes that saved Samaria. Let it be forever known that the actions of these three people shaped the course of the world." The first part is just like an intro, just talking about how they came together. And all it says is the cleric, the oracle, the paladin. It doesn't give names. Once that chapter is done, though, then it switches to being named chapters. And the first one, the first one is titled Madrian, the Bloodless Tactician. Madrian is the heart of every pure relationship. Every ounce of goodness that you could experience was contained within this one Asimar. He didn't know much about his lineage. He didn't know much about his power. He didn't know much about himself. But what he did know was that he had to do something. And there has never been a more focused, resilient force that will ever live. There is more than one primordial that has arrow marks in it. There is more than one elemental that was spared for his kindness. Never forget Madrian and what he taught us. Sometimes war has to happen, but that doesn't mean it has to be an agent of death. And it will go on and continue talking about Madrian, the things that you did, people that you saved, people that you buried. The next chapter is titled Queen Signy, Fool's Bane, Fey Paragon. Queen Signy Amaranth, the Ascended Archfey. If ever there is a storm coming, if ever there is some great calamity that threatens to bear down the unshakable power that is this Eladrin, will cut through every trial. When Signy first left the Feywild, she was sure of herself, but gave herself very little grace and very little room to be. As she put her life on the line repeatedly to fight for everyone else, she learned how to give herself a bit more time. This lesson has turned her into what will be one of the greatest rulers that any plane has ever known. If you have the chance to visit the Feywild and see House Amaranth, do so. There is no more perfect example of exemplary rulership and kind people. It'll go on to talk about some of the efforts you made throughout the war. It talks about the it talks about the growth that you've inspired in the Fae, how many of them were lost and confused after the fall from Arvindor, but how your steadfast nature gave them something to rally under. The last chapter is called Ruby, the Star Speaker. Ruby Swiftfoot. Ruby was and is the most self-doubting cleric, but the most self-assured defender. Anytime something called upon her to show her faith or her story, she would close in. But anytime there was someone else to stand for, anytime that a voice needed to be heard that was being drowned, Ruby's almighty power would cleave through whatever blocked it and give that a voice. Would stand firm against the greatest powers, speaking reason, speaking logic, speaking truth, but from a place of essential goodness. The teachings of Sarenrae embody light, they embody hope, they embody love. And while there are those who've been in service longer, those who bear more power, there are none more in line with the teachings of their goddess than Ruby Swiftfoot. it will go on to talk about the efforts you made healing people. It will go on to talk about the way you taught people to not only care for one another, but when they need to stand for themselves and when they need to stand for each other, and how to build community. It credits you with the founding of a lot of modern civilization, because the example that Ruby Swiftfoot gave showed people how to come together to do something greater than themselves. There's a bit of an epilogue at the end that talks about bearing witness to these events, seeing firsthand the growth and the challenges and the story of these three people, and how it is hoped that this tome and the stories that it contains will help continue to inspire and uplift people in this new world as a new dawn has come for humanity and all mortals.
Queen Signy. When you return to the Feywild, you find something you never thought you would have again. Community. Family. Hope for the future. What does your life look like?
For a part, I do rule, but ever since I got back, there has been something weighing on me. Even though the gods are banned from this plane, our gods still fight and bicker. And if I want to finish the job and create a better world for my people, then I must fix this. So I have spent time researching, thinking of our conversation, me and Arvad, or should I say Osiren. And I feel like it has taken a while, but I have found an answer. And today is the day. Today is the day that I heal the rift. And
You find yourself surrounded by your people. Elves who have come to adore you and, dare I say, worship you. They see your passion for doing this impossible task, and they have rallied behind you, helping you prepare for a ritual that would change the very nature of who you are. You find yourself in a room alone with the object that Aravad gave you, that Osiren gave you. Its liquid form not yet settled. Something for you to decide. What shape will you give it?
as I sit and stare at this object. I still have Aravad's words echoing in my mind. But then I think back to when my husband was alive. I think back when we first met. And I think back when we were soaring like ravens in the sky. And as I think on this, the form changes in my hand. It changes into the head of a raven. And I get up slowly and walk outside.
You notice that there is a visitor. You see your old friend Madrian.
I was gonna knock, but you kind of don't have a door there.
We were installing it. It's fine. And I
Yeah.
give Mandarin a hug.
Well, I give you the tightest hug I've ever given. Well, I mean, I've given a lot of tight hugs, but like, you can take it.
I'm glad to see you out, Mandarin.
Yeah, it's nice to be out. In a way.
Yeah. Have you said hello to your daughter?
Well, not yet. I was gonna go visit them for dinner. I know Sarah's over there. And she's greeting them first. I wanted to go see you first. Yeah, say hello.
Well, this is very great to see you. I do hope that you can make a small gathering that is happening later on, if that is something that you would like to see.
Is it like a feast? Like,
Not really. It is more of a rite of passage, we can say.
for right? Is it magical?
It will be.
It sounds awfully like a ritual. And I don't know if I'm ready for one of those yet.
Okay. Well, it's up to you if you would like to come, but I would like you there. We're family, after all.
Does Signy... I mean, I know Signy pretty well. Does Signy have, like... How do I phrase this? I guess I'd be trying to gauge if she's uncomfortable or nervous, or if she's asking me to be there because she's afraid or something.
She does seem nervous, but she seems like she's never been so sure before.
Yeah, well, we'll go. For you? I mean, after all, we're family, I mean, yeah. Well,
If it's too much magic, don't worry. You can leave if you'd like.
I can tell it's something important to you, so, I'll be there. I can't
Alright.
leave, friends alone,
Family.
Family, yeah. It's really good to see you.
It is really good to see you too, Madrian.
It's a nice, thing you make it.
Yes. I kind of hide it. I put it in my pouch again.
Well, I don't know why you'd hide it, but, there's plenty of things that I hide that I made. Like, one time, I burned an omelet, and I was pretty embarrassed about that, so I kind of opened the window and, like, tossed it out. It was, no good.
Well, thanks to you, I could make a pretty good love omelet.
Oh, well, let's see if you can beat the best, because I'm the best, and we might as well stop by and say hi to Era, and
Right.
I'm sure
Well,
they'd love to see both of us.
we can have an omelet off after the ceremony. How's
Yeah.
that?
Oh, sounds like a deal.
All right.
And I quite forget. I don't know where my daughter lives, because I've never been to the Feywild.
You are escorted with a guard to a beautiful home made of woods you've never seen before, and a structure that doesn't quite make sense, but is beautiful nonetheless. Arrow answers the door. You see his gruff form. He smiles and wraps you up into a hug, lets you in. You see your middle daughter, Asara, eating some leftover stew. She brightens when she sees you, rushes over for a big hug.
I'll do one of those like spinning hugs. Oh, easy there, kiddo. In my old age, you might hurt me.
Get out.
Well, it was good dropping in. I'll make my way to the door.
Dad!
What? Oh, you want me to stay? Oh, yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Sit down. We have some news for you.
Well, all right. Sit down in chairs. I'm glad your house has a door.
We just found out that we are going to be parents.
I'm gonna be a granddad. I think that's how that works. Yeah, definitely how that works. Have you thought of a name yet?
Not yet, we just found out. But unfortunately, we won't be able to take part in the ritual today. It's not safe. And Arrow doesn't want me alone.
I think at the mention of it not being safe, I think that jovial friendliness kind of fades quickly. And a more serious expression that Madrin probably hasn't worn in 30 plus years kind of takes over. Dangerous how?
It's a lot of raw magic, and I'm worried about. I'm not a native to this plane anyway. I just, had kind of a worried feeling. Nothing about the ritual, just about the baby. And I thought it would be best to sit out. Queen Signy has plenty of so many talented sorcerers. She doesn't need our help.
And this is a rite of passage. It's what she told me. And I'm gonna look at Arrow, because I don't understand Feywild customs. Is that correct?
Arrow kind of shifts in his seat a little bit. You notice the dog kind of nudging you towards your daughter. Have you named this dog, by the way?
Is it a girl or a guy dog?
It's...
Because if it's a boy, it's Barkavad?
It's a girl.
Okay. Then I will name her Nalessa.
Melissa?
Nalessa.
Nalessa nudges you towards your daughter.
I'm gonna follow. I guess the dog might be smarter than me. From all indications.
You're welcome to stay with us. We are going to head back to the material plane for a brief festival.
I'd like that. And I'll pull out a sending stone and I'll send Signy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to make it to the ritual. I'm going to be a granddad, taking Arrow and my daughter out to a cool festival they were going to. Also, I have a dog. Be safe.
Signy, you would have already just heard this news as well.
Hi, Madrian. It is Signy. I'm surprised you didn't say it was you. That's how you taught me. But I understand. I am glad that you heard the news. I didn't want to spoil the surprise. I hope you have fun.
I'll be right back, you two, and then we can go. Sorry, is Sora here also?
Yeah.
Okay, you three. You four, sorry. I shouldn't be mean to the dog. The dog is definitely here, and it should be counted. I'm gonna run back to say goodbye to Signy, because I think friends should always say goodbye in person.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna hoof it.
You find her. You enter her castle. Her
I'm gonna be
grand
super
palace.
sneaky.
Yeah, roll stealth check.
Oh, okay. Man. Well, you know what? With these Wolfwood Studios, dice trays, I rolled another nat 1. That being said, I think I have an auto crit, so I'm just gonna use that.
Okay. Yeah, you do. You sneak your way back into the castle and see Signy in colorful robes, ceremonial robes. She's getting ready for the ritual.
I, as stealthily as possible, run up and give her a hug. Like, the biggest, strongest, longest hug that I've probably ever given Signy to date.
As you startle me, I will flip you over my shoulder.
Oh, can I roll an acrobatics check to, like, do a flip and land on my feet?
Sure.
Maybe, like, bent at, like, an angle?
Yeah.
Well, that's much better than the last roll. What is my acrobatics? I don't think I've rolled. +5. Wow. All right. 23.
Madrian,
Surprise!
what are you doing here?
Well, I wanted to say goodbye before I left. Like,
But you already did.
no, it's not the same.
Okay.
You're one of my best mates, and I would never say goodbye like that to anybody. And I know goodbye is just for now. It's really just until next time. But I'm gonna miss you. Be safe. For me.
I'll try, as I always do. I hope you have a wonderful time at this festival.
You as well. You're gonna do great. I just know.
Thank you.
And I know you were questioning why I didn't say hi to Madrian. It's because when you're using a sending stone, they don't apply. It's only when you're using magic to send people that you gotta introduce yourself.
Okay. I will make note of that.
Yeah. Well, that's all I really had to say, unless you have anything else you'd like to add. Otherwise, I'm gonna get going to the festival.
Travel safe.
The
Be
outfit looks
safe.
nice. Nice, by the way.
It is a little flashy, but
You flashy? No way. I mean, I've totally seen you like cut a genie's head off in the middle of battle and like throw a body and been like, "Who's next?"
yes, but my outfit I was able to move in. This
Well,
one is a little. It is a little much.
I'm gonna dig in my bag real quick, and I think I have an item. Maybe, possibly. I think it's a trinket that I got from like way early on, and I'm gonna give it to her. Maybe it's not true. No, I'm gonna say it's something I carved myself. That's much better, and it's not good in any manner. It is like Madrin got really bored one night while they were sitting around the campfire and like had a knife out and was just like,
Oh, did you craft Ruby?
well, it was supposed to be you. I mean, I made one of each of you. The reason you can tell it's you is if you like flip it over, it has your name carved into the bottom. That's
But
how
I
I tell
don't
them
have
apart.
such big hair, Madrian.
I mean, you did then, maybe. It was like years ago.
That is true. Thank you. I will cherish this. Maybe you can make me all of us later.
You know, I think I have one of everyone now because I keep them with me, so I'll give all of them to you, and then I'll carve new ones that are probably better for everyone else.
Well,
That way you never forget
first
us.
draft, so the first draft is always very special.
Yeah, first of anything, really. But
Thank you.
till next time, Queen Signy. Your Majesty, the one and only
Please.
royalty and
No.
best friend I have.
Please don't. I'll put my hand on his shoulder.
And I
And,
dip
like,
out into
squeeze
the
it.
lowest bail I can before I'm forced not to. It's good to hear you laugh, Signy.
It is good to see you smile.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'll see ya in a little bit.
Arvad.
leave.
Oops, sorry, Madrian. Arvad. Would it be safe to say that you spend a fair amount of time relearning planar travel for yourself?
Yes. Yes, I would.
What if I told you that one day a year, during the winter solstice, the barrier between the astral sea and the prematerial plane weakens just enough for you to send an avatar of yourself through, for you to send Arvad through?
I would definitely take advantage of that.
Where would you go?
I would go where I feel like I am needed most. So I would probably go find Ruby.
Ruby, where are you?
If I could unmute myself, that'd be helpful. If it's the winter solstice, I'm probably still out on the road, but pretty close to home. Yeah, still traveling at that point.
What do you look like?
Been a few months since the end of the war, maybe more. I've chopped most of my hair. I have this little curly pixie cut thing going on. I also now still wearing my cleric's robes, but instead of the very modest style where I have my arms covered my back. I think they call it a cold shoulder look, where you've got the shoulders bare. I'm showing off my brand or my scar, and my back to my robes is low so you can see my whiplashes. I'm not afraid anymore.
And this is how you find her, Arvad. Setting up camp, sitting at the fire.
Reading that book.
Don't get me wrong, I like the new look. But it is like the coldest time of year to cut off all your hair and to decide to this huge wardrobe change. Here. And I, ignite the fire a little stronger.
I turn to where I hear your voice.
I'm not there. I'm kidding. I'm there.
Oh my god, stop. You're ruining it.
I spend the entire time teleporting around.
I could see that. What is this?
This is me taking advantage of the way the celestial bodies move and affect the gate. It's a little secret. I don't feel like everyone should know.
I feel like if they did, that would negate a lot of the work and sacrifice.
Well, I'm only here as Aravad. I don't quite have all of my gems and jewels with me at the moment.
You're only here as the son of a simple music instrument maker.
Yes.
I hold up the book.
And I wonder how I came into possession of this.
It's an interesting book.
Is it now?
I hear it's full
Talks-
of great stories.
There's one missing.
You know, I went back and forth on whether or not I should include a recipe for omelets, but it seemed like it would detract from what I was going for, so I left it out. I can write a new copy that has it with you. Bring it next year.
If I'm going to be seeing you next year, let me ponder that.
As far as I can tell, this is the only time that I can do something like this. So I'll have to wait till next year. Plus, that gives me time to write. Writer's block is just a whole
And
thing.
omelets are a very difficult topic.
Well, especially when I have to quantify what love means. Not exactly my domain.
How are things where you are now?
They're strange. Open access between the planes. A lot of energy flowed. There was a sense of life. There was a sense of birth. There was many things. Now that we're cut off from the world of mortals, there's a sense of stagnation. It's not all the gods are handling it very well. I'm doing little things here and there. Where I can. I have taken up into training dogs. They seem to be good protectors.
I'm assuming Charlie's still with me. I'll give him a scritch behind the ear.
Yeah. They're okay.
How are you?
Nervous. I've spent the last few months wandering this war-ravaged land.
I'm going home for the first time in several decades. I don't really know where that's going to end up, but I have to at least try.
Ruby Swiftfoot,
Oh,
the
Siren?
woman who argued down 3 gods. The woman who looked at the physical embodiment of water and said no. Is worried? My dear, there is nothing that this mortal world, even the immortal world, quite frankly, that could stand before you with 100% confidence.
You know, since you've been gone, I've been wondering an awful lot of how much of the way you talk was Arvad and how much was Osiren.
We're the same. There's no difference. This is just a shell. The way Signy talks about life before the fall in Arvindor, that's sort of how gods are. We don't have definite forms necessarily, preferred forms that we kind of coalesce as, but it's all the same.
And how much time do you have in your shell today?
This is a first run, so I really don't know. I also don't know what it's going to look like when it's time for me to go. So, forewarning, it could be very sudden.
We've been through a lot.
We have.
Well, you might as well come closer. Standing over in the shadows is not going to keep you warm in this cold weather.
That's fair. I'll come closer.
Scooch a little closer.
I could heal that, you know. I understand
This?
you're wearing it proudly now, but
I actually have plans.
oh really?
I do.
Be interested to hear all about it.
I'm sure by next year you'll be able to tell.
I suppose I can't get mad about you keeping secrets.
You have no right.
To be fair, I never lied. You never asked me if I was in disguise. Or someone else. It's all relative.
Semantics. I've missed you.
Missed you too.
What is that face?
Is there anything else you'd like to accomplish tonight?
I will lean in close and kind of rest my head on Ruby's shoulder.
And I will snuggle in.
I'll stay here for as long as I can.
You have... Go ahead.
I just asked promise.
Always.
Arvad
My
and
guiding
this
star.
mother bitch!
Sorry.
God damn it!
I can hear Kate.
My bad.
Fucked
I
it
waited
up.
too long on that pause. I promise, always. My guiding star.
You have about 8 hours in this form. And before you know it, the time comes to a close. You feel yourself being pulled back as the winter solstice fades. And then it's over. Until next year. Ruby, you do make it home. And much like your friend Signy, you find yourself hailed as a hero, as tales of your daring adventures have reached the ears of your entire village. You find yourself the most famous halfling that ever existed. You also find a people who are blessed by Avandra, so much so that it becomes a part of who they are. Halfling's luck. Madrian. I feel like I should do Signy next.
Yeah, do that.
Signy. You are surrounded by your devoted followers. These are people who have freely offered their souls and their magical abilities to help you achieve your goal. They've gathered themselves around you, their queen, in hopes that once you achieve what it is that you are aiming to today, that you will unify all of the elves. The goal is simple. Use the souls of these devoted followers, your Shatterkai, to forge a pathway from the Feywild to Arvindor, to bust open the gates forever. You step into the middle of the ritual circle, and you watch as these hundreds of elves surround you, begin to chant. Sing. Call out. And a great beam of light shoots up, straight up through the ceiling, bursting through the castle. Wild energy radiating around you. You are enveloped in a maelstrom of wild, chaotic, magical energy. And just when you think you can see the gates of Arvindor shining just ahead of you, you can almost touch them. There's a pull at your gut as you realize something is not quite right. You look back and you see Several of your Shatterkai are using the wild, impossible energy. They're siphoning it off for themselves by performing their own ritual. You recognize that as something that would impart them with magical powers far beyond even the greatest elven wizards of legend. You turn, and you see among them the symbol of Nerl. You have a choice to make. Do you continue on to the gates of Arvindor, or do you crush these servants of the evil god of death for good? You feel more energy than you've ever felt before. Divine powers at your fingertips. You could kill them in an instant.
As I see this, I reach out my hand and try to extinguish them.
The ritual is still underway, but you bring down all of your wrath upon them. You feel this divine energy begin to twist at you a little. Your rage turning on itself, becoming darker. It's not just enough to crush them. You have to obliterate them. And you watch as the rage spreads out from your chest, physically manifesting itself as you become a body of light. The blue energy that shoots up through the ritual darkens to red. And you watch as your castle begins to crumble. By the time you realize what is going on, you can feel the twisted magical energy grabbing a hold of you. And despite this power, you are unable to stop it. In a panic, you find yourself reaching out for the souls of the Shatterkai for more power, hoping to save yourself. But the gravity of this, the gravity of this spell has become irresistible. In a dreaded moment of terror, you are pulled, you and all who are under your influence are pulled into the Shadowfell. Where you are instantly killed. You have no idea who you are anymore. You have no idea where you came from. You don't even know your own name. All you have is that symbol of a raven and the knowledge that you are queen. Your mind is torn apart, ravaged. You fall deeper and deeper into divine madness, pain and turmoil over the betrayal of your wizards, the destruction of your kingdom, and your failure at attaining godhood. All lead to a descent into an unquenchable sorrow. But at the same time, the energy of the ritual is still transforming you, breaking down your physical form into an entity composed of symbols and images, perception, to keep yourself from dissipating entirely into nothingness. You use the last vestiges of your personal power to pull memories from the Shadowfell all around you. Memories from those fallen here during the last war. Memories of the dead. Creating a cloak of identities that is able to sustain you. And over centuries, those dark memories accumulated and coalesce to give shape to the entity now known as the Raven Queen. Arva, Osiren, Ruby, Madrian, you are all grieved to hear about the loss of Queen Signy Amaranth. Her kingdom destroyed by the influence of Neril. Luckily, the Amaranth line has not ended. Arrow and Asara returned to the Feywild, determined to rebuild Signy's empire, to unite who was left. Madrian, what does this look like for you?
Well, I don't go back to the Feywild. I take time to grieve for the loss of another friend, another loved one. And I take a more proactive approach, I suppose. I start training adventurers. And the organization I started, I start to train in earnest for about a decade, actively taking adventuring jobs and fighting anything that is ruining the peace that the material plane has finally achieved, or at least come close to. I never kill, but I take a proactive approach. And after a decade of that, I'm traveling with Sura. And I think it's summer. It's a warm night. The sound of cicadas in the air. And we hear screams from a tiny little hamlet in the middle of nowhere by a river. And there's a bridge on it. And I've got my dog. And I'm the first one to kind of run towards it and to see villagers fleeing what looks to be bandits. From what I can tell, they have kind of set this town ablaze. They're fleeing towards me on this bridge, and I draw my bow, which I had picked up every time I leave for an adventure or come back. I put my bow back on Kalia's grave, say goodbye, take it, and go. And Sura, I think, is escorting them to safety. And I think the dog's at my side, and I start firing rounds. Not rounds. Rounds would be bullets. Firing arrows at the bandits. Not killing any of them. Mostly the streaks of silver light that come from my bowstring of those magical enchanted arrows erupting like fireworks as they hit people in like a splash of sparks and launching them back. And there are so many. And I tell my dog to go help Sura and send it away. I keep firing and firing, and two figures approach. Dressed in black plate mail, with tattoos I don't recognize and symbols I don't recognize, wielding harshly curved and serrated weapons, a male and a female, and they approach. As if a duel, almost. I feel compelled to fight them. So I drop my bow and toss it into the river. And I draw my shield that I got with Aravad. I draw just a regular sword. I don't think I ever replaced the saber I gave to Arrow. And I start fighting them. And as I'm fighting them, a quarrel from a crossbow catches me in the leg right below the knee. As they press their attack, I am forced to drop back, feint after feint, blow after blow, catching my shield, my sword, driving me into a corner. And I knock one of them down with I knock the male down with my shield, driving him to the ground, and swing my sword and stop right as it starts to cut his neck, unable to kill him. And I get stabbed in the back, right through. And I fall to the ground, face up, staring at the stars, the moon. And it's the funniest thing, I can't feel anything. I can barely hear what's being said. But I feel a warmth as the night sky is lighted with, I suppose, magic, like a fireball, or with an eruption of magic. And I feel hands cradling my head, putting my head into a lap. I look up into this face that I can no longer see. It's blurry. I see silver hair, and I feel teardrops on my face. And I kind of try to have a second wind. And I reach up and I press a hand against their cheek. I have no idea who it is, and I just say, I found you. And my eyes light up with the luminescence of the moon and the stars, picking up all that dimness that has accumulated over the past years in one bright, glowing moment. And I take a deep breath. And I don't take another one.
Madrine.
Yeah.
The first thing that you see is Akalia's face. You're on a beach. Somewhere far away. She's smiling at you. Holds her arms out.
I run to her like I've never run before. And I Wrap her in a hug as tight as I can possibly get it. I bury my head in the long silver locks of her hair. God, I missed you. I tried to live the best life I could. And it was so hard.
You did so well, Maddie.
I tried to make you proud.
I am proud.
And, I kept my promise.
I know. And now you're home.
You'll never leave again, I promise.
As you embrace your wife, that is where we will take a quick tear break. We'll be right back after a few messages from our sponsors. Oh baby, I love your madness. Welcome to our Patreon. Here on Open for Adventure, we are making high quality Dungeons and Dragons content, folks. We have a great big world to share with you, and by becoming a patron, you can help us explore and expand upon this adventure. With your support, we can invest in more amazing artwork, better mics, fancy cameras, and overall stream quality. Not to mention, help us get some amazing new merch that we can use for giveaways. What do you get by becoming a patron? I'm so glad you asked. Let's take a look at the different levels and give you a sneak peek at what you can get at each tier. Did you know that the family of the First Lord Theo, the leader of the rebellion against the Empire, actually invented firearms nearly 25 years prior to the current campaign? The designs for this high-tech weapon are the Delaney family's best-kept secret. Also, they were originally invented by the late First Lady Victoria, Theo's mother. Access to lore leaks like this is what you can expect from the first tier, written in blog-style posts after each weekly session. Ever wondered what goes on off-camera? The next 3 tiers give you exactly that. With Stolen Moments, you can get access to text-based roleplay moments, highlighting experiences that don't make it onto the stream, like Leona's training session with Ray and Asmarin. Stolen Moments Plus gives you access to roleplay moments featuring our guests, non-player characters, and historical figures, featuring the likes of Marshall, Annalena, and even the Empress herself. And Roleplay Addiction takes us to a whole other level. This tier gives you exclusive 30-minute videos of canon interactions not otherwise seen on stream, like late-night drunken interactions between paladins or tender moments featuring your favorite character ships. The Warm Fuzzies is super simple. It's everything I've listed so far, and also you get your name on stream after our weekly regular sessions. Every session. And our undying love. And finally, the most epic of all Patreon tiers. Drum roll, please. The Lore Master. This ultimate and final tier gets you first look access at all of the content going into our upcoming, official, Open for Adventure campaign setting. Lore, maps, monsters, items, dungeons, dragons. Go ahead, have a look around, make yourself at home, and consider becoming a patron to help us make this fantasy world a little bit closer to reality.
Oh, hi! My name is Express Love. I'm the Senmarian god of coffee. Did you know that in Senmaria, every cup of coffee is made with found familiar coffee beans? That's canon. In Senmaria, every cup of coffee is good coffee because it's made with love by found familiar. Did you know that every bag of found familiar coffee features artwork from incredible members of the tabletop gaming community? That's canon. Each blend and roast of found familiar coffee features cool D&D names like Thieves' Cant, Face Step, and Pact Magic. In Senmaria, every royal meeting that Ray attends features the Cartographer's Blend, a brew of coffee made by Found Familiar in conjunction with Devon Rue. Now that's canon. Found Familiar Coffee. Buy it today.
Oh baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal. Some would say I'm insane in the right and away, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know, and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium, life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless, I know. Just do what you want with me. Yeah, I want it all. Could care less the cost. I give you my everything. Some would say I'm insane in the right and away, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know, and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium, life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. And give me your freedom. Whoa, yeah, to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium, life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Oh baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal. so easy. Whoa, you left me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless. I know. Just do what you want with me. Yeah, I want it all. Could care less the cost. I give you my everything. Some would say I'm insane in the right and the way, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know and give me your freedom. Whoa, you left me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you left me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Give me your freedom. Whoa, yeah, to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you left me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium.
Welcome back. Oh gosh. Starting off on the sad feels music real quick. For those of you just now tuning in, to summarize for you, Queen Signy, in an attempt to become a divine power to heal the rift between Corlon and Lolth, dealt with some traitors within her Shatter Kai, and in doing so, the ritual was corrupted. She descended into the Shadowfell, where she was essentially shattered into a million pieces. Madrian, in one last effort to save the people around him, gave his life and was reunited with his wife Akalia. Ruby returns home to find herself regaled as a hero, a legend. Aravad, aka Osiren, finds a way to visit the Primaterial Plane once a year on the winter solstice. And for the first year visits Ruby. Osiren, Arvad, is there anybody else you'd visit?
I probably would have tried to visit Madrian at some point or another.
Mm.
Though I am getting pretty active reports as to how he's doing.
Oh yes. Your loyal servant watches his every move.
Well, I'm at home if I'm still alive.
Yeah, this would be before that. I'm assuming.
Yes.
I walk up to the homestead. It's the first time I've ever been here, actually. I see. This is everything that I ever wanted for my children, for my creations. A happy home, peace. I do see Holly's grave. And I will, before going in, I will walk over. I should have asked you what that magic was. You seem so assured. I don't think I could have stopped you. I've done what I can to keep them safe. Thank you. And then I'll walk over to the house. I knock loudly.
I think I've got a nice little fire going in the fireplace, and I'm sitting like in a recliner. The dog's like sitting next to me, and I kind of get up and lit out one of those, and open the door. And I offer the friendliest, most understanding smile I can give.
And I hug the shit out of you.
I will return that hug as long as our event needs.
Managed to figure a few things out. I can visit, sort of, every now and again, for a time. It's only about once a year, so don't expect this all the time. But I had to come see you, and I had to pay some respects.
Camille, is this after or before Signy in the ritual?
We could say it's after.
Okay. Well, offer a nod. Well, I suppose I will have to invite you over for tea sometime. If you'd sent a letter, I could have, had some food, an omelet. But it's so good to see you, Harvard.
It's good to see you too.
Have you, come, sit down. I think I've got an extra chair. I can certainly spare my best chair for God, and I'll give you the comfy recliner chair.
Just keep your chair. I'm fine.
Hey, you got all day. Come on, sit down. I might not be as magically strong as I used to be, but I'm pretty sure I can pick you up.
You probably can.
I'll usher you in. I'm not gonna let you stand in the doorway.
Okay, I'll happily come inside.
Yeah, I'll shut the door. And tell me your stories. How are things going for you?
It's strange. The gate. We're getting used to it now. We're used to sending messengers instead of coming ourselves. We're used to imparting missions to Howard's servants. It's making everyone a little more subtle than we all used to be. Even Paylor.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really care about the other gods. I asked how you are, in particular. Your stories.
I am I'm pleased. Over these last couple of years, I've seen one of my greatest servants, a woman by the name of Macias, managed to carve out quite a nation for herself.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff.
It is. At the same time, I was so distracted by my studies on the gate and my followers that I was not there for Signy.
Well, that makes two of us. I saw her that day, and she asked me to be there for the ritual, and I didn't go. I didn't want to see another magical ritual.
Well, from tale I hear, you also had just been informed of your grandchild.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure your protective nature kicked in. I don't think you... I think the choice you made was reasonable. I think you stayed with family that needed you. From the wreckage that I've seen in the Shadowfell, if you had been there, it would not have made a difference.
probably. I mean, I'm not going to beat myself up about it.
Good.
But I think everyone tells themselves they made the right choice, the reasonable choice. They'll say anything to convince themselves that what they're doing is right, even when it may not be. I just wish she had better. I wish if the world didn't suck as much as it does today. But, you know, it's living, I suppose, as life keeps going, whether any of us want it to or not. And we gotta roll with the punches. And that the memories we make, the memories that we have, are what hold us together. And we can always dream for a better future and take steps to make that happen.
I agree. You've always had such wisdom.
I don't know about that. I say smart words and I hope they make sense. And so far, no one's called me out on it. And I guess if that's wisdom, I mean, who am I to judge?
I suppose you're right. I see you've adopted a new companion.
Well, if Madry knows it's a smart dog and he's seen that Ruby got Charlie, would it be a fair assumption to say that he can? Yeah, it's a really good dog, really good guard dog. It like only barks when people get within like 20 feet of the door. But I figure you had something to do with that. Don't lie, I'm pretty good at catching liars these days.
It was not by my order, but I did say yes. Would you like to see her in her normal form?
Yeah, sure.
I'll just kind of look over towards the dog, and the skin becomes like this bright red color, and she stands up on the hind legs, beautiful white robes trailing off behind her, and this massive greatsword that's bigger than any person you've ever seen. This is one of my Archons. She volunteered.
Well, thank you. Going to feel guilty for naming you now? So sorry about that. It was awfully rude.
I like that name.
Well, I'm glad you do. I thought it all up myself. But it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'll extend a hand.
She'll shake it. And then gently return back to her dog form. As she does, she kind of curls up on the couch by the fireplace.
I'm doing what I can.
It's
Can't always be here, but I can leave pieces and traces behind.
Can you take things with you?
Probably. I don't know. I've never tried before.
Well, I've had some time to practice my carving, and I gave some to Signy that day. But I carved out little figurines of all of us. You know, I know ours were pretty bad, but I've had like 2 years to practice, and I think I've gotten really good at it. I also wrote a name on the bottom of it, just in case you couldn't tell them apart. And I'll give him
these forever.
Well, I mean, no more than any other gift. I wouldn't want you to like risk your life over it. I can always carve more. It's a lovely thing about making things, is you can always make another one if it breaks.
Sometimes what you put into something means that can't be reproduced. So I will always cherish these. I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Not long after we first started traveling together, you had a vision. You said that it was the death of a god in the Shadowfell.
Yeah.
Well, we've now seen 2 gods die in the Shadowfell. What do you think?
Can I roll real quick? What would you like me to apply as a modifier? I'll burn an advantage from chat because I feel like it deserves that.
Oh man, this would be a great time to spend fate die.
If only I had all these fate dies.
Can I give him my crit if he doesn't roll good?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I will just use an auto crit.
Okay. What are you trying to ascertain?
So I think Madrian has always been the type of oracle that doesn't interpret non-physical cues. Like, I feel like he's very much visual. Like, what he sees is what he gets and what he looks for. And I feel like that's always kind of been his thing, is kind of picking out details from every vision and saying, okay, I have to be beneath the palm tree at this time during midday, and the sun's over there, and there's 2 people walking. And I know that Aram at one point explained that vision in a much different way than he would have interpreted it. But I feel like this vision was so long ago that it was when Madrian's power was working at full strength.
Mm.
I feel like Madrian doesn't believe that vision has come to pass.
I would agree.
And he's seen 2 gods die now? And none of them really matched up. They were very not similar, and some of the last visions he had was of Sarenrae dying, which was a separate vision. So I guess what I'd be trying to ascertain is, I think he would be looking beyond the physical cues for more emotional ones, as he knows Aravad very well. And I know you explained in that vision that it was a sense of betrayal, of sorrow, of deeper visions. I think he would be trying to interpret if that was Osiris dying, whether those feelings would be something that his friend who feels so powerfully about would have imparted in that vision.
I'll message you.
Okay.
Etsy.com/Wolfwood Studios. While we get this message, this is a nice purple heart dice tray that was given to me for my birthday. It is great. It was handmade by our very own Camille. Right there she is, right in the middle of your screen. There she is. It is great. A lot of us roll ones, but I don't.
This is the Bloodwood. I did not get it as a birthday gift. I bought it. Because, support your friends.
Wow.
I don't remember what type of wood this is.
A little bit of shit.
Hey, wait a minute!
It's beautiful, and I love it.
You have Bakoti, Graham.
Oh, Bakoti. I got Bakoti. Because it was a funny word, and I thought it would be cool. And it is.
And it is.
Okay. I will pause for a moment, and I'll reach out a hand for just Aravad to hold mine.
Sure.
I'll give him a squeeze. Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about it. What? Well, I mean, I've been thinking about all of them. They haven't happened, but what? I don't think it's happened yet. And I know I couldn't make out the faces of it, and that what I really had to go off of was emotion. And how would you feel if you got betrayed, or if you got murdered, or... Oh, I mean, you'd feel pain, right? But, like...
How
I guess I'm asking a deeper, like... Would you be angry? Or would you just be sad?
Depends.
On who?
Betrayal takes many forms, many reasons, many... If someone close to me betrayed me, there would be a lot of sorrow. But, like I said, it depends on a great many things. Do you think this is me?
If I was going to put a wager on it, it could be you. We've been traveling a long time. And I think what you just said probably confirms my ideas, is that whoever's going to get stabbed, it might not be you, is going to be real sad about it and not angry. And in my vision, they didn't necessarily prevent it or even retaliate. They got kind of stabbed in the back with a greatsword. I mean, that's not a sneaky weapon, mate. It's a pretty non-sneaky weapon.
Your visions are precise, or they were. Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I still saw Saren Ray get smashed. Saved Tiamat. There was a poor trade, I suppose. It evolved. Well, I guess saving one god is better than 3 gods dying. What?
But like with the first vision you shared with us, this doesn't have to come to pass. It's just a warning.
It's a warning? Yeah. I mean, there's no sense that it doesn't have to pass the way it does.
Sure.
But I think we've seen gods die.
Certainly have.
Far too many. Is there a way to protect a god after they die? Or to, or protect anybody, really? Like,
in my time alive, 4 gods have died. Io, Aurum, Sarenrae, and Queen Sydney.
Lacal.
And Lacal.
5 gods
I
have
was
died.
there for that one.
Lacal. Each time, their power either passes away out somewhere beyond, or it gets taken. Not always taken, sometimes it's gifted, but some of the gods believe that there are greater forces than even us, that there's metaphysical beings. There are some deities that just worship the concept of magic. It's hard to say. It doesn't happen very often, and, well, no one's ever made it back to tell us what it's like.
What happens to your I don't know what the word is. Is it divinity? I've been reading some books. You know, I think it's wow, I said books instead of scribble scrabbles. How enlightened am I in my old age?
The people call them different things. I call mine my domain. The physical things that I have wrought will stay. The things that are subsisted on my power, it kind of depends. Things that solely I own will fade out. Things like gifts of power that I have given in various forms, in theory, will remain. There's still artifacts left from Aurum that people have been finding over the last few years, giving them greater power. I believe our friend has found some of the strength of Lacal still scattered about. It's like I said, we don't really know. I do think, though, that one thing we have seen with your visions is that they're a picture of the future from right then. And a lot has changed since then. I don't know. That's enough of the gloom and doom.
Yeah, I mean,
how about there's got to be
we could have a party.
There's got to be a market open somewhere.
Yeah, we can go hit the town like old times. Maybe you'll make a statue dance and you'll throw out coins and gems, and people will be like, "Oh, it's them!" And I'll be like,
what we can do.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I guess before we go out, let me get my coat. Firstly, it's cold out. You know, I'm just a regular Madrian guy that has no magical abilities. So I'll throw on my nice little fur coat and just be safe, Arvid. Careful who you can trust, and never assume you're not the one that's gonna die.
Yeah.
I know time with like elves and gods probably are like a day is like 20 years, but sometimes life passes you by without you recognizing how finite amount of time you have with someone or something. So use it wisely. Now, let's go get a bottle of this very good brandy and throw some coins around.
Let's.
Ruby.
Yes.
Time seems to be going slowly for you. What do you hope to accomplish in your hometown?
The only thing I set out to do was to see my mother again. And to make sure that she had forgiven me for leaving just a note in the middle of the night all those years ago.
You find Your mother in her old age, her smile as bright as ever. She assures you that there's nothing to forgive. She asks if you've heard of the goddess Sarenrae and her stories of redemption.
I know those all too well.
Well, why don't you come have a seat? Maybe you can read this book I found to me.
I'd be more than happy to.
You see, it is a copy of The Birth of Light and Truth.
I don't tell her I was the one that wrote it.
After all, your name is not in it. A siren.
Okay.
I was going to say, two people that you have loved dearly have fallen into the Shadowfell. And it's on this day that you find yourself there.
As I watch the Shadowfell, I'm not in all of my glory. I'm just very plain. Not even as brightly colored as Arapad is. I make this journey every year or so. I go to the hillside. I've built two things. One, I've built a reflecting pool for Sarenrae. The water in it shines. It's one of the only things that produces light in this cursed land. And I've also built... I didn't get to see what Signy made her symbol into. I didn't get to see the aspects of that ritual. So I've simply taken and formed a greatsword. It sits in the ground as well. And these are my memorials. And every year I add like another gem or another flower or something to it.
This year, as you sit with your sorrow, you sense the presence of another behind you.
I will look.
You see the strongly built, chosen avatar of Asmodeus.
My friend. Essentially my brother. I've looked for you from time to time. I noticed you're not always where you're supposed to be, but that's fine. I know your heart.
No, you do not. You see, as you turn around, he wields your scepter. The scepter that only Ardenea could have given him access to.
Well now. What is it that you want?
I want to be better than you. You waste your gifts cavorting with the mortals. Even now, you cannot resist every winter solstice, abandoning You look and see that there's something behind his eyes. Something you don't recognize. An influence.
What has happened to you?
I've realized that I am meant to be in your place. It is time.
How did you come to have my scepter?
I think you know.
Where is she?
She's fine. She gave it willingly. You've been betrayed, O Siren.
Up to me.
No,
Spoken. You could have literally done anything else. Something has a hold of your mind. I see it.
the only way to become a god is to destroy one. We saw that.
You might have my scepter, but you do not have my power. And I shift again into my full form, because this isn't the material plane where I don't have to be in an avatar. And as I do, a shield appears on one arm and a spear comes through on the other side. Like the Master of War.
As you do so, he shifts into his full form as well. The scepter firmly grasped in his hands. You glance around, and there are several of your archons surrounding you. Several archons who have always favored Asmodeus, always answered his calls to war. You are done, Osiren. And he takes the scepter, spins it once in his hands, and begins charging at you.
He does. I take a firm stance, and I'll stab into a few of the archons sort of trying to surround me, just trying to break his line. And then I'll take a low stance and get ready for his charge.
The battle that ensues is painful. You never imagined you would be fighting Asmodeus, your loyal servant, your archon, your archangel. But they do not call him the Master of War for nothing. After several maneuvers, hours, days even, seem to go by, he begins to wear you down. And you feel as though perhaps you cannot get out of this one. You find yourself panting, your back to him, knelt on the ground. This is it. Any last words?
What will you do with this power?
Rule. As is my place.
Take it if you can.
Not even waiting for you to turn around, he raises his scepter and drives it right into your back. You feel yourself open wide, your power exploding from within you. Your eyes burn bright. You see your entire lifespan flash before you. Everything that you've accomplished, from the creation of Sarenrae, an equal partner, to the flowering of humankind, to everything that you did in the Dawn War. Even the memorials that you've created for Signy and Sarenrae begin to explode with a bright red energy.
I'll look upwards. I can feel my energy draining out of me. I have 3 domains. I have the domain of kingship, the domain of humanity, and the sky. And I watch kingship drain out of me and enter into Asmodeus and turn and corrupt into tyranny. I watch humanity drain out and turn into monstrosity. And in that moment, seeing the memorial shatter, seeing the possible future that this will become, as I look up, the sky, the Shadowfell, breaks slightly, and the blue sky of Samaria shows over me for but a moment. I'm not dead yet. Asmodeus. You want to be the king of Bathion?
I will be.
No. You'll never set foot in Bathion again. You'll never have all my power. You can't handle it. My eyes burn blue, and my form ignites, and a fire goes through the scepter into him. Asmodeus! You have lost to Bathion. You are lost to rule. I named you the prisoner of Bator. Spit out a large glob of blood. You will never be free. Not as long as any humanity bears breath. For you don't have all my power this day. And you never will. My servants will see to that.
As you speak, you feel this transference of power from you to Asmodeus twist and corrupt into something the God of War was not expecting. It turns red and black, and you watch as his skin begins to shift. Horns grow from his head. He lets out a cry, a scream of agony. And in the distance, in some unknowable place, you see Bathion begin to shift. The landscape corrupting, corroding, growing hot, impossibly hot, becoming Bator, becoming the 9 hells. And as Asmodeus drives the scepter in farther, yanks it out, Arvad, you Feel the last of your energy dissipate. And then, like a hammer on a sheet of glass, you break. All over the world of Sanmaria, temples to Osiren are destroyed. References to Osiren erased. A taboo is placed on his name, that any who doth utter, breathe the word Osiren will be struck down where they stand. There's a new ruler of kingship, one who makes deals, who corrupts bloodlines, who seeks to be free of his imprisonment for his slaughter of Osiren, who will from now on only be known as he who was. Ruby, you are the last of them. You have outlived all 3 of your faithful companions. What do the rest of your days look like?
I would have only spent a few months at home. And then I have promises to keep. So I would have, over that first year, started to visit all the temples that I promised Aravad I would visit. My scar on my left shoulder, I find someone who will cover it with the symbol of Sarenrae. As the years go by, I alternate visiting towns and talking about Sarenrae and talking about the Dawnbringers. And the storyteller who always kept them together. When Osiren is defeated and the temples crumble, I make a point to stop at each one where they once stood, and I gather a little bit of the dirt, maybe a pebble of foundation if I can find one, until I have a little bit of every single one. And I bring it with me wherever I go. I spend my life in anonymity. As the century passes on, and more, I still tell their story, but I don't associate myself with who those people in that book are. I don't tell the halflings that I meet that I'm the reason they have Avandra. And I do everything in my power to spread Saren Ray's message every day until the end. And when that time comes, I ask that I am buried with the Book of the Dawnbringers and my jar of dirt.
Ruby, you live the rest of your days in somewhat relative peace. You live to see the creation of a new breed. They call them fiends. Those who followed Asmodeus into the hells. You see their influence begin to counter the balance of Celestials. A rise of demons as well. Creatures filled with incurable hatred. Venom, poisoned by the abyss. Only a few times are you sought after by them. But you find that your powers are incredibly useful against them, more so than any other creature. As if something somewhere is watching over you, protecting you. And as you close your eyes for the last time, you think you were never alone after all. And that is where we will end this campaign and today's session. Thank you all for being amazing players. This was great in every way. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to Saturday mornings here on Open for Adventure, who followed the tales of Ruby and Aravad and Signy and Madrian. I want to thank our guests, the Lady Dame, Morgan, Mindy, for making this truly an incredible experience. Let's go ahead and sign off one last time. And instead of, you can say your favorite part of the session, but I would like to encourage you to say your favorite part about playing your character in this campaign. Who would like to go first?
I'll go. Hey everybody, I'm Goat. I played Aravad / Osiren this campaign. You can find me on Twitter at MyNestro. It'll be a thing in the chat, shows you how to spell that. You can also find me on this channel on Friday nights, 6 p.m., running an Elder Scrolls game. It's a lot of fun. The premiere was last night. You should check that out and then tune in next week. My favorite part. Jeez. My favorite part of today's session, at least, was just seeing the culmination of a lot of different things and a lot of secrets coming out and a lot of just like that was very like, emotional but satisfying. My favorite thing though about playing Aravad Siren has probably been being a non-center stage bard. Just kind of like do my thing, and then I push everybody else out there. It was a lot of fun to try to set up other people's stuff and doing that. So that was kind of his whole deal, and I really did enjoy that.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Goat.
I'll go next, I guess. Hi, I'm Graham, or Graham Crackers. It has been an absolute delight being here every Saturday with all of you. Let me start with that preface. And it has been my delight to be Madrian Wolfheart, an Azamar Oracle fighter. Where can you... I'll start with finding me. You can find me here, eventually, somewhere, sometime. But outside that, you can find me at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time on Stalwart Initiative playing Arzavash, Adventures in the Verse. And tonight, if you are a late night owl, you can find me on a charity stream on Friends Who Roll Dice playing a one-shot of Goths vs. Visigoths for the Trevor Project at 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. And my favorite part of today's session was undoubtedly Ruby. Without a doubt, just every interaction is always so heartfelt from her and so real, and it carries such raw emotion. But yeah, it's just been wonderful. My favorite thing about playing Madrian was not necessarily the lessons that he directly said, but the lessons he taught, like letting that grief is a real aspect of life, and that it does not define who you are. You do not have to be the strongest, the smartest, or the prettiest to have a good heart. And you should always follow your dreams, because they might lead you to someone you'll marry. That is Graham signing off.
Thank you, Graham. Stacy, are you ready?
Oh my god, no. You go, Dax.
I was gonna say, do you want me to go first? Hi, I'm Dax. I had the joy of playing Ruby this campaign. For all the hard parts and all the good parts. You can find me as the GM of a podcast called Roads Uncharted. We use the Genesis Fantasy Flight game system. Episode, latest one, just posted last night, so go ahead and check us out. We're into our double digits, so I'm excited for that. More to come. It's pretty much it for me as far as self-promotion, so I will say that what I have loved about playing Ruby this campaign, I set out to play a character that, while small, wanted to have a big impact on the world. And being able to accomplish that is one of the best feelings in the world as a short person myself.
Thank you, Dax. Stacy?
Hi, my name is Stacy. I'm doing terrible. I was doing really good this entire session until Dax had to say that she wanted to be buried with the book, and now I'm not doing good. I'm drinking soda because I have an addiction to soda. Okay. Fuck. I mean, darn. My name is Stacy. You can find me on all social medias as Pixelcat. That's 2 T's _. Oh, and now you can't find me on Saturdays. Fuck. I mean, darn. But you can find me doing art gremlin things on Discord and on my social medias. Yay. Fun times. This is so long. Jesus, damn, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You're gonna make me cry. Already tearing up just watching.
I mean, darn. Okay. What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm on a podcast called The Roleplay Cafe with beautiful Dax. we talk about things that people don't know about. Also, we do interviews for people in the TTRPG community.
I'm sorry, Stacy.
I got to play Signy, and this is my first campaign that I did all the way through. But it sucks that it's over, but that just means there's room for more stories, and it's been a really great time. Jesus, damn it, fuck! Who's onions in here? God damn it! Is it Mare? Did you bring the onions in here? My favorite part, God, of this entire session.
Would it feel better to talk in an Australian accent?
No, it's not Mina. It's actually Liz. My favorite part of the session is It's the session. I got everything. I mean, of course, Dax had to uppercut me one last time with that book because I was doing so great. I was so like on the break. I was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't cried. Fuck that. I mean, darn." But yeah, my favorite part of the entire thing was just being able to play with y'all, and every Saturday getting up. God. Ooh, I'm done.
Thank you, Stacy, so much. Dax, can you give a warm fuzzy before I go?
Sure. We have Bel Chavez. We have Andrew, Fellowship of the Tables, the Bay of Gifts. We have Sev. And Gamer Lives. And Mitch D. And Orion Skyrender.
Hi, I'm Camille. I was the Dungeon Master of this amazing, wonderful campaign with these incredible role players. It has been a distinct honor and privilege. You can find me on Twitter at CamilleDoesDND. You can also find the channel on Twitter at Open4Adventure. This has been a campaign set in the Dawn War, thousands of years before the current Zenmarian campaigns. And as you can tell, it has had a huge effect already, without the players even knowing. If you like this, catch more of us Mondays and Sundays. And we will be having a fourth watch, which is where a show where we come together and talk about all of these feelings. Not same time next week because some people won't be able to make it, but we will be having it soon. So keep an eye on our Discord and our Twitter. Keep an eye on our Discord and our Twitter for more information on that. And I guess that's it. If you'd like to submit a question for this, let Mindy or Alex know. They are our hosts for Fourth Watch. I'm gonna go cry. I will see y'all later, and I hope that everybody stays safe and healthy. Don't forget, always, 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 always love one another. And this has been amazing. Bye, everybody.